that later. My name's Sam Beatson and I'd like to welcome you to this presentation entitled Emotions, the Releasing Method Model, Chart of Emotions. So, what are we going to discuss during this presentation? Well, you're going to get a feeling for the goals process and the goal chart. We're also going to be talking about the chart of emotions process, which isn't normally known as the chart of emotions process, but it's such a valuable part of the method that we'll cover it and call it the chart of emotions process. And we'll also talk a little bit about emotional intelligence and how the chart of emotions can help you in terms of your emotional intelligence. You've got the 3 releasing questions around the outside there as well. First of all though, are you a releasing graduate? Becoming a releasing graduate is easy, fun and simple. You'll gain tremendous happiness and you'll be able to achieve your goals if you learn how to release. You'll learn the method that Levenson developed from a teacher he asked to continue his work. So go along to Larry Crane's site or Hale Dwoskin's site and do a basic course, either live, on CD, DVD or via a book. Come on down to www.goingfree.org as well and learn more about releasing and graduate support courses with Stephen Seriton of www.leicesterme.com after you've done that. Join our forum too, it's completely free, www.goingfree.org/forum. There's lots of experienced graduate releases there from around the world, hundreds of questions answered. Last time I looked there was 3,000 posts in more than 300 topics by more than 300 members. And there's interaction as well with one of Leicester's original students and friends for 11 years. That's www.goingfree.org/forum. So what is this chart of emotions in the Sedona method? Well, it's a chart of 9 emotional categories, and underneath those emotional categories come a list of about 30 or 40 different feelings that you could kind of class as being under one of these categories. So underneath apathy you've got the states like depressed and useless, worthless, hopeless. Moving up into grief you have sadness, crying, depression again, loneliness, despair. And then when you move up into fear, fear is talking about the feelings like afraid, frightened, timid, anxious, embarrassed. Lust, we're talking about compulsive, must have it, lecherous, horny, those are lustful feelings. Anger, or in anger, frustrated, rage, volcanic, fuming, angry. Pride, moving up to pride. Lester Levenson said pride is a hide. You can work that out for yourself. Pride is a hide. It's a front, in other words. Pride is your ego pride. Superior, I'm better than you. I'm bigger than you. I'm beyond reproach. Courageousness, moving up into courageousness. Courageousness is one of the first, for want of better words, positive feeling or positive emotion in this chart of emotions. And what we're talking about with courageousness is I can. Feeling of I can do it. Open, becoming more open, brave. All those feelings, courageousness feelings. And then a step up from that is into acceptance, where you're feeling loving, compassionate, kind, considerate, open again. Accepting, starting to feel more serene. When you're in peace, stillness, centeredness, feeling of oneness, if you like. I've drawn an arrow there to show you you're getting lighter, happier and more abundant the higher up you are on the chart. So the 3 processes I wanted to talk about which utilize or involve the chart of emotions. The chart of emotions process is not really known as the chart of emotions process, but it's so valuable I think it should be called chart of emotions process, and it's certainly taught in those courses I mentioned earlier. AGFLAP-CAP, that's the acronym: apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride, and courageousness, acceptance and peace. And there's a demarcation between them, between pride and courageousness, because courageousness, acceptance and peace are the more open states, the more desirable, for want of better words again, states. 3 releases on each of those. You start with apathy and you take 3 of the feelings from the list, or you just do a release on times where you felt apathetic or people who you saw were in an apathetic state, and you just either release on the feelings directly or take each feeling to the underlying want. That's more of an advanced process, taking the feelings to the underlying want. And you start with apathy and you go up all the way to peace, and then you welcome the peace and allow it to expand as best you can. The goal chart process then, that's one of the processes of goal work that's taught, and freedom and imperturbability, that's step one of the method, that goes at the top of all my goal charts. I always like to put freedom and imperturbability at the top of the chart just to remind me of step one of the method. And then I've got an example goal here. I allow myself to be positive, happy and successful with ease, and then beneath that I've put the 3 basic wants. So that's kind of the top of the goal chart. Then what you'd ordinarily do in the goals process is that you do your now feeling. So what is my now feeling? And you go through your now feeling until you feel courageousness, acceptance and peace, and either move on or you continue releasing. Then you can do the action steps process, either as a separate process or right after you've done the now feeling. So either of those processes can work with the goals process. What I like to do though, and I'm passing this to you because I feel it's really effective, I don't know whether it's taught, I don't think it is taught, but it's certainly the way that the workbooks are modelled, is you've got your freedom, imperturbability at the top, and then your goal underneath, and then your 3 wants, and then beneath that writing ag flap cap. Whenever then you notice that you're feeling a particular feeling, you can put it under the category once you become familiar with the lists of feelings in the emotion, in the ag flap cap list, the emotions list. You know, it does take a considerable amount of familiarity with the lists, I will admit, but certainly I found it extremely helpful to learn to recognise my feelings and then be able to put them, for example, if I'm feeling frustrated as my now feeling, I put it under the anger of the ag flap cap. If I feel open, I'll write that under the C for courageousness. So in other words, it's a fantastic system, the chart of emotions process, for charting what you're feeling, where you need to be headed, where you need to go towards courageousness, acceptance and peace. So let's talk a little bit about emotional intelligence then. I've just mentioned about recognising your feelings and emotions, feeling your feelings and emotions and letting them go. That's what the method teaches, letting go, letting go. And feeling your feelings and emotions is a skill. It's a learned skill, and by doing the chart of emotions and learning the chart of emotions and doing the processes, you become more emotionally intelligent. You learn to recognise what you're feeling, where you are on the chart and where you need to be headed. You start to discover or rediscover freer states, and you get glimpses of, sometimes big glimpses of, the more you release, the more glimpses and the closer you're going to be towards this total freedom, ultimate happiness, happiness with no taint whatsoever of sorrow that Lester talked about. Lester Levenson said, go high to release, go high to release. In other words, the way I see that is, the higher you are on the chart, if you're in courageousness, acceptance and peace, it becomes that much more easy to let go of the lower states, the lower energy states on that chart of emotions. Lester also said that in some of his presentations that CAP is PAC spelt backwards, and that's the PACMAN who eats up all the ag flap. In other words, when you're in courageousness, acceptance and peace, that eats up the lower energy states and you release them and you let them go. And that's why we saw that animation. That picture, by the way, is Lester with Stephen Seriton of www.lesterandme.com. There's some terrific information on that site from a student and disciple of Lester, a friend of Lester's for 11 years, Steve. That's www.lesterandme.com. And again, it's from the angle of one of Lester's students. Thanks very much for viewing this presentation. Again, my name is Sam Beedson. My website is www.goingfree.org. You can email me or call me anytime if you have any questions. You can also learn more about releasing and how to order courses that make you happier, healthier and wealthier by releasing at my site. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll leave you with